Live 21. So we're up to 21. We're almost coming of age. So it's been a big week. Great week. I hope everyone's had a really good week. So for those who don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We do this every Monday night. We get together and have a chat about detecting and all sorts of stuff going on. We got a lot of people here. Brooke, Michael, Richard, lots of guys. Rodney's here, Dominic. So welcome all. So tonight's exciting prize, and I've got a lot to tell you about this, is a sluice. It's not a big giant sluice, but we're now doing all the gold rack gear. So let me just, it's a great logo too, gold rack. So we're doing gold rack gear. So this is a little, like a backpack sluice, I suppose you'd call it. Yeah, it doesn't come up real well because of the green screen, but let me just flick that across. So that's the mat that's inside it. This is actually a camo version of it, but it's a fantastic little sluice from Gold Rat. So we're going to give that away today. Dustin was in today from Gold Rat. He bought a whole lot of stock for us. But just such well thought out gear. No sharp edges. The mats just pop out. No cleaning, hard cleaning and miner's moss or anything like that. So some of this sluice gear is just amazing. So to win this, you need to share this live stream, and in about an hour's time, we'll draw this out. We'll get the randomizer going, and we'll draw this, and yeah, I'll send it out tomorrow. So, but yeah, so some amazing things. This dream mat, no, that way. This dream mat is amazing stuff. The way it cleans out. So it actually sits in the little pockets in the bottom of the dream mat. So incredible gear. So that's what's happening tonight. That's the giveaway. I've got some really good stuff to show you about that, and something so very innovative. We're actually going to get Dustin on the show, but at a later date, because Dustin, I don't know whether people have ever talked to Dustin or whether anyone's ever met Dustin, but he is just, from a gold prospecting point of view, just so switched on, and the way he thinks about things is really incredible. So, so yeah, we're going to have him on one night when he's free, and yeah, so we can really get into some detail about that. Richard looks like he got the prize from last week. Richard, I think it was a pan kit from memory. So I've had a really big week this week. We've got the gold rack gear in, so that took up a fair bit of time. But I've spent a lot of time researching. I've spent a lot of time looking at the mahogany ship for further Friday Night Lives. Lassiter's Bones, that's for another couple of Friday Night Lives. We're going to do a thing on Lassiter's. So I've been doing a stack of research about some of these subjects that you guys are interested in. And we've also got some, we're going to, next couple of weeks here, we're going to test out some more technology where we can bring in someone from far away. So we tried to do it tonight, but it didn't quite work out. We didn't have enough internet speed. But of course, as many of you know, Warren's in New Zealand. So we were going to try and get him on the show from New Zealand, but that's the sort of thing we'll be trying to do. So, yeah, so we'll be able to do a lot more of that going forward. So a lot of my week's been like that. So I haven't put the post up early. It only went up an hour or two ago. So bear with me as I'm struggling to keep up a little bit here. So yes, hello everyone. There's people from everywhere here. Colleen's here. Hello, Colleen. We've got people from Adelaide and Warwick and Rockhampton. The Young Guns are here as well. Hello, Young Guns. Tony's here from Central Queensland Detectorist. Detectorist Inc. Well, that's very flash, Tony. Yes, lots of people from here. Tamworth, Toowoomba, Warwick, Colin's here. South Island, New Zealand. Good to see you, Colin. Warren's over your way at the moment. Craig's in Claremont for a few days, so everyone's here, so welcome to all. Let me get back up the top here. David's here. G'day, David and Ray. So, questions from last week. There's a couple of things. There's one thing I'd just like to get to the bottom of. Ever since Warren and I did that show on divining, I have got, I don't know, hundreds of questions about divining. Now, I am far from an expert when it comes to divining. In fact, I've only really done it once. So, when people are asking me the technical details of divining, I may not be able to help you. In fact, there's a whole show, we need to get an expert, and whether that's Warren, there's a whole show on divining, because there's a huge interest in divining. Like we had, we had a dozen of those divining rods, and I got them in thinking, I won't sell them for years. You know, that's a year's supply. We're all sold out of those. So just bear with me with the divining. I don't know a whole lot about divining, so it's yes, that's my my issue with that. So right. Bob's in Northeast. G'day, Bob. Northeast Victoria. Hello, mate. Northeast Victoria. Yes, nice part of the world. Okay, so that's the divining caviar that I don't know much about that. So let's have a look at some of this gold rat stuff. We'll just do some other bits and pieces. I'll just get this screen set up here. So gold rat do a stack of stuff. Okay, they do those little mini sluices. Now that's only 6 inches wide, but then they also do, let's get rid of that too. They also do these 12-inch, 10-inch, 8-inch sluices. They're just a river sluice. There's a stack of different things, but these river sluices, you can convert and put a header box on them. You can actually go all the way and convert them virtually into a high banker. So, and speaking of high bankers, they do some really, really nice high bankers. We've got a 12-inch one in the shop, so at the moment, but really nice high bankers. And what's surprising is how much water runs over the top of them. You know, you can run an inch and a half of water over the top of some of these high bankers. So, yeah, fantastic stuff with this. And then here we go. Oh, hang on, there's the water. That's the amount of water you have running through these things. Like your 12-inch sluice, you've got to have about well over 15,000 litres an hour running through them. So they're basically a wash plant. So, and then here we go in the shop. There we go. Two blokes in the shop. We're just setting things up there. So, any questions you've got with regard to those with these sluices, just or the high bankers or any of the gold rat stuff. So, legality wise, let me just. I'm getting lots of questions virtually immediately about the legalities of using them in Queensland. So the so sluices are fine to use. It's the mechanical stuff that there's an issue with. So you can use that little sluice, no trouble at all, basically anywhere in Australia, because you're hand putting it in there. And what you need for that is river flow, is to be able to put it in a stream with river flow. The other thing, while we're on that subject, so this is the one we're giving away. Well, I've got it up here. Hard to see the mat in it because it's camouflage mat and it sort of blends into the bush. But share this post and we'll send you one of these out tomorrow. So Right, so from a legality point of view, let me throw this bad boy up here. And this might be a bit hard to see, but this I suppose is about 1200 long. This is what Dustin calls his push box, right? So the beauty of this is there's no manual pump with this, although you can put a spray bar on it. It does come with a spray bar that you can put a pump on it and recirculate it. But this is a push box, okay? These push boxes the idea is you shovel into the top here, right? And you might put a couple of bucket loads in the top here, and then you bucket a couple of bucket loads in and wash all the wash down. Now this is your little separator here. Get your big stuff out of the road. So your big stuff, it looks a bit green here because it's shine on the aluminium sort of thing there. But you shovel into here and all your big pieces, your classifiers, come up and sit on top of this screen here and you push them over the side. So that's just a very, very clever way to be able to use a sluice without it being mechanical. Now, this is miner's moss with some expanded mesh over the top, simply because that expanded mesh is much harsher than what the dream mat, the silicon mat that goes in the rest of the sluices are. So this is the sort of innovative stuff that Gold Rat's doing and Dustin's doing. So just like this gets around all of your problems. You can use this anywhere in Australia, and all you're doing is bucketing, shoveling into it and bucketing into it. So just a phenomenal piece of gear and such work, really well thought out, like incredible. So yeah, there you go. There's a push sluice, and yes, I won't tell you the story about how Dustin came up with it. That's a story for him to tell one night when he's on the show here. So just what a clever bit of gear. And again, no sharp edges. You can run your hands all the way along it. Really high quality aluminium, really high quality everything. So amazing bit of gear. Like this stuff is, I was blown away by it today when it all came in. So yeah, so there's your sluice. So right, so yes, high bankers and pumps are a very grey area in most states. That push box, people are asking me how much the push box are. So the sluices start at about 180 bucks. The little 6-inch one, the one that we're giving away tonight, it's about $110. Then let me just look the price of the push sluice up here. So what I did was I wanted a recirculating sluice, because I do a lot of stuff at home, but I want to be able to put a lot of material through it. So I went for an 8-inch wide sluice. It's just a standard river sluice. Looks remarkably like one of those. So I just went one of those little 8-inch sluices, but I put a header box on it so that I could pump into it. So I've sort of got the best of both worlds, and then I put a set of legs on it sort of thing, so I'm not banging around on the ground, it's easy to level sort of thing. So that's what I did, because that's the sort of work I do. There's a little tiny recirculating one that's that size. Yeah, so there's a stack of different ones. So that little sluice by itself is about 110 bucks. That push box, the big push box we had up here before, it's about 550 plus legs, plus, you know, you can go nuts with these things. And that includes the spray bar. So, yes, that's, yeah. So from a legality point of view, John talks about moving parts are classified as mechanical. Well, do you know that no one has been booked for using a high banker in Queensland? So I don't know whether, I can't find any record of anyone being booked. So, you know, it is a whole stack of legality reasons that you can use them and you can't use them, and you know what's mechanical. Is a pump mechanical, you know, or is it only the mechanical removal of soil? Who knows? But I think the main thing is if you're not being a lunatic with it, you know, and you're not digging, you know, you haven't got an excavator in there and you're digging a 30-foot hole, I think, you know, you can, yeah. Victoria, someone, who was that? Brett. Yeah, you can use them in Victoria. Victoria love them. You can also use them in WA, no trouble at all. Problem with WA is there's no water in WA. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. So, yeah, Scott was using a 10-inch gold rat at Glendon's with a low flow from 2,000 gallons an hour. Yeah, you probably would process. You'd certainly process more material with a 3,000-4,000 gallon per hour pump. Like that's a lot of water. That's 16,000 litres an hour, sort of thing. So, but yeah, the big pumps, because they're running a lot of water over the top of these mats. So, so that's the yeah. So that's the thing. The more water you run over it, the more material you can process. And as we were talking about from the gold show there a few weeks ago, it's all a game of, when you're talking for alluvial wash gold, it's all a game of how much material you can process. You know, like if you process a tiny amount of material, you need a really rich area to be profitable or to have a bit of fun. If you're processing a big area, you know, you don't necessarily need the richest area in the world. So, yes. Yeah, 3,000 gallons per hour for the 8-inch is a minimum. I reckon. Yeah, Dustin's here. G'day, Dustin. 3,000 gallons per hour for a minimum for the 8-inch sluice. So, yeah, that's what you really need to be doing to push that that stuff through. So, right. So, for those who don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. Tonight we're giving away that little mini sluice with the super cool dream mat in it. And all you need to do is share the show. We do this every Monday night, so we're here every Monday night doing this show. We have guests on. We have all sorts of giveaways. We must be just about due to give away another machine maybe next week. We'll see what happens. I've got another couple of gifts here that some of the suppliers have been giving me. G'day Josie, how are you? So, that's what we're doing tonight. The other thing I'd just like to show you, I've actually borrowed this off someone. These are for the World War II guys. This is some detecting that was done. I didn't do this, this wasn't me, but this was detected at from the site of the Battle of Long Tan in Vietnam. So we've got perimeter wire, some casing, skippy badge and a grenade ring down there. So just a really fascinating little thing from Vietnam era. Some of these stuffs, now these weren't done illegally, these allegedly, I don't know a lot about it, but these were, he owns a property over there that borders where the battle was held. So these are all legit finds sort of thing. So, but just a fantastic bit of history, and it's done up in a little case like that. It's a nice little bit of gear, that. So, right, what else is happening? Yeah, gold cubes are too. They're good too. Brett, Martin's here, Peter's here, Hunter Value. G'day guys, how are we going? So, let's talk about legalities of... I've had a lot of questions about accessing, and there's a common question, and I'm not the expert on it, but there's a common question: are accessing creeks on private property allowed as long as you access them from public ground? So what the question is, and I don't have a definitive answer, and I wouldn't like to give a definitive answer in this one because I think this is a bit of a grey area too. So if you're driving along a road and there's a creek crossing a road, can you get in the creek and walk along the creek? Is that trespassing? Well, I think legally no one owns the creek. So legally no. But I don't think too many landowners would be terribly stoked about people wandering down the creek. So I would be tend not to. But there's one rule of there's one rule with trespass, and if it's not, like if you've made a mistake and you end up on a place, you can't just be charged. You have to actually be warned and saying you're on private property, get off. So you can't actually be charged, but you don't really want to be jumping, you know, fences and all that sort of stuff. So yes, so that's the walking down the creek lines, right? And some people say if you're jumping fences, that's illegal. If you're not jumping fences, you know, like Chris is saying here, 5 metres either side of the creek is Crown land, some are 2 metres. But Bradley makes the best point of the night is that shotguns aren't fun to look down the barrel of. I have had one of them pointed at me, and you're right, it's no fun at all. So I would err on the side of caution there, and I would go and knock on a door and say, I'd like to have a poke around down your creek. So yeah, that's the thing with that. Now, the next question, right? Are you allowed to detect between the edge of the road and the fence line? I would say yes. It is very similar to detecting in a park, Crown land. Go for your life is what I would suspect. I haven't heard of anyone coming in any trouble with that, but make sure you know where the boundary is for the private property. A lot of those places out west, and particularly southwest, may not have a fence on them, but they're still private property. So you really should know where that fence line is and what's happening with it. So yeah. So that's yes, that's a lot of thing. And if you use some common sense and ring the owner and don't be a lunatic about it, like a lot of people will let you on. It's not a big problem. So yeah, and you do the right thing. Shut the gates, and you know, if you're on a property, if you've got permission to go on a property, you know, ask the property owner, do you want me to check the gates or check the fence, or you know, bring some groceries out, you know, bottle of bourbon out, doesn't hurt, you know. So anyway, it's common courtesy. So g'day Trevor, how are you? Tell us the gun story. No, Michael, I can't tell you the gun story. That was when I was much younger. It wasn't prospecting. It was, yes, it was when I was a young lad, and there was a young lady out in the bush that I was pretty keen on courting, and unfortunately her father wasn't too keen on me, so that's where I got the hurry. The hurry up. So yes, we won't talk about that too much. So yeah, there's nothing. There is one more thing about looking down the barrel of a shotgun is looking down the barrel of the shotgun that's attached to a father that's not real keen on having you chasing his daughter around. So, all right, g'day Nicole, g'day Bradley, Cameron's here. Yes, so David's here, g'day David. So yes, anyway, I shouldn't be telling stories like that because, yes, my misspent youth chasing people around the countryside. So, yes. Generally speaking, I have a lot of questions about, do you need a fossicking licence? Generally speaking, you do. Like for instance, New South Wales, if you want to go in the state forest, you do. Some you don't. And you don't necessarily need one on the beach. So on the beach, you're not actually fossicking. So technically you don't need a fossicking licence. So that's normally how that works. So yes, right. Yes, someone's asking Monday night, it's 12 o'clock, mate. JK, you must be in Europe somewhere. Yes, it's Monday night Australian time. It's like early morning in the UK, like 8 or 9 o'clock in the UK. Where are you from, JK? Yes, so Anthony asked, can they take your gulls and other fine? So if you're accessing an area that's you're not supposed to, legally they can keep up if the mines department finds you without a fossicking licence, legally they can take your machines, they can take your vehicles, they can take anything they want. So that's if you're not doing the right thing with a fossicking licence. So they can, yeah. Then there was other. Now, if you're talking about private property, normally you come to some sort of arrangement before you go down with the property owner as to what happens to the gear. Like whether you get to keep 10% of it or you get to keep 90% of it or 50%, however you want to work it out there. So, yes, I did not find any information, Andrew, about the detectors. I'm still looking into that. Yes. Pete, couldn't get lucky with the girl, so yeah, okay, Pete, yeah. Yeah. Like, there's ways around a cranky father when you're 17 and, you know, stupid. So, yes, it didn't last long though. It was a pressure-filled relationship. So, yes. Okay, so Nicole bought a CC pick. CC picks are quality picks. I have one here. The CC pick guys are, well, it's Craig. There's only one CC pick guy. They are phenomenal picks. Australian made, spotted gum handle, really good picks. CC Picks have actually sent me this pick to give away one night, so that'll be one of the giveaways one night. Really good quality Australian made pick, so I'm glad you liked it, Nicole. I've been using one for about 5 or 6 years now. Still the same pick that I've been using, and I haven't even broken the handle. So yes, so it's great. So yeah, you won't break it, Nicole. So yeah. Walked across a sign yesterday, mining claim. Is with a sign for a mining claim. Sean asked a really good question here. Walked across a sign in New South Wales yesterday with a sign for a mining claim. Whether that's current or not, it should have some details, the mining claim number on the sign. You would have to ring the mines department and check to see whether that's a current claim. At the end of a claim, you're supposed to take down all the signage. So it should be a still current. It should be a current lease, so you shouldn't be there. But legally, they're supposed to take them down. They don't a lot of the time, so you would have to check with the mines department and just see whether that's a current lease. Should have a. You probably took a photo of it, but it should have a mining lease number or yeah, it should have something on it that you can identify and ring the Monster button saying this is current sort of thing. So, right, like Squizzy Taylor. Some farmers lease Crown land, for example, owning both sides of the creek, and the creek being Crown land, they can lease it due to the creek ownership. Now it's not being able to fence halfway across the creek. Yeah, like as far as the lease, a leased land, like leased Crown land, like you'd have to get permission from the owner. It's just because it's Crown land, they've leased it to someone else. It's like renting it to someone else. It's like, so even though it's Crown land, someone else has got the right to use it. So I wouldn't like to be doing that. So, Dominic, what would you like the link for? The pics. The pics, if you go to golddiggersmetaldetectors.com.au, the pics are all there. So, yes, if that's what you're asking, Dominic. So I'm just getting a bit behind. Yeah, these picks are phenomenal. Australian-made picks, all sprung steel. They do two versions, one with wings. You can see the wing up there. It's a folded up. It sort of acts more like a dozer blade and keeps the soil in as you're scraping the soil. It sort of keeps the soil in that area. And then they do a straight one, which is a bit cheaper, the Easy Dig pick. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's good. Right, so. Okay, so then okay, so I get this question a lot too. People come in with it and they've got a detector and they say, right, I'm going looking for gold, and it's like happy days. They come in and they say, I need a big coil to find the gold. And for most VLF machines, particularly in the eastern seaboard, you probably want a smaller coil rather than a bigger coil. So a VLF machine is very sensitive to the mineralisation. So you put a bigger coil on it, you got more ground under the coil, you got more mineralisation under the coil, so you're going to get a lot more ground noise. If you put a smaller coil on it, you're not going to get as much ground noise, so you're going to hear the targets more. It's actually a little counterintuitive, but that's how it works. So, like for instance, a 705, 80 Max, all that sort of VLF machines, even XP Deus, like any of them, you know, Ace 400, you are better off putting a smaller coil on them. You know, it doesn't matter brand or anything like that for a VLF machine. So that would be my suggestion to you, is to put a smaller coil on it rather than a bigger coil. So yeah, see, Cameron runs a 5-inch coil on a Gold Monster. Yep. So yeah, that's exactly right. So Reese asked how much it costs for a Fossicking license. Varies state by state. Queensland's about $55. WA's, and for a year, WA's like $15 or $17 for life. Yeah, they all vary. It depends on what state you're in. Right. So, just a bit of a, you know, an irritating reminder who I am. If you don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. I've got a little shop here in Brisbane. We do this every Monday night. And then tonight, we're giving away a little sluice, a little 6-inch sluice. This is actually, I don't know whether you've caught up with it, but Warren's in, where is he? New Zealand at the moment. And he took one of these with him, and I saw a photo up on Facebook page the other day of him using it in the creek. So, so you can just imagine, like, that's, you know, that's probably what, 600 long, probably fit in your bag, go on the plane. So, so yeah, so that's what we're giving away tonight, Gold Rat Sluice. So So all you need to do is share this live stream while it's happening. So yes, so that's what's happening tonight. So and that will go out. We'll put it in the randomizer later on, and we'll randomly pick a share. So right. Nicole asked a question here. Here we go. In Claremont on the weekend, we found a big rock that gave us a faint low-high signal with the mine lab. We broke off some that was black inside and had a bubble-type pattern on one side. It's hard to steal. Does anyone know if it'd be lava? Could be possibly anything inside of it? Be lava but detectable? Yeah. So Nicole, I suspect that that's highly mineralised. Probably a hot rock. If it's There's people that know more about this than me probably on the live stream here tonight, but if it looks like it's blistered on one side, that could be a meteorite. So I would definitely have a good look at that, but more likely to be a hot rock. So just a highly mineralised rock. So yeah. Asking about, Matthew's asking about his New South Wales free to Fossicking. You need a Fossicking permit for state forest, certainly. On private property, I don't think you actually do, but you do need a Fossicking licence there. There's the Young Guns. Hello, Young Guns, how are we? That's another thing we might even do. We might even get one of the Young Guns on one night and have a bit of a chat to some of those guys and see what they're doing. So, yeah, Jared asked a question, did you say miner's right isn't needed detecting? Not if you're not mining. In Queensland we call it a Fossicking permit. If you're not Fossicking, you're not looking for gemstones or gold, you know, why do you need a Fossicking permit? Just because you're using a metal detector? I don't think so. So, okay. Stefan, how far out of Perth would the goldfields be? Oh, so the goldfields, any goldfields, you don't really need to be in the goldfields for gold to be around. So for instance, Browns Plains, Brisbane here, southern Brisbane, Browns Plains, we're not in a goldfield, but you can go out to that creek behind me here and pan some gold. You can get some colour out of that creek. So Perth would be very, very simple. All that gold-bearing country, like you could, you know, you just have to go and have a look around. You're looking for that quartz and ironstone sort of country. Yeah, so have a good look around, and gold will be there. There'll be no doubt about that. So, right. So, what else have we got here? Thanks, Jaco. Have a great day, mate. Jaco's in the UK, 11 o'clock over there. So, okay, the coil, yeah, the ground balance, does it do it itself? I think, does anyone have a Minelab Safari apart from Alfonso? Because I thought it was a fixed ground balance, the Safari. I don't know. If anyone knows that, he's got a question there about when he turns on the Minelab Safari, do I have the coil in the air? You'd normally have it on the ground, but yes, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fixed ground balance. If it's a fixed ground balance, turn it on, away you go. So I just don't know off the top of my head whether whether it's a ground balancing machine or not, Alfonso. Sorry about that, I don't know. Okay. Snakes. How do I stay snake safe? Depending, a lot of people have different ideas about this. So I tend to wear, I'm still wearing, this time of year, it's still warm in Queensland, so I'm still wearing snake gaiters. I wear snake, well, I don't sell them, but I wear Snake Protects snake gaiters. They're ridiculously expensive. They are stupid expensive, like $150, $160. But I spend a lot of time in country like that in the background there, a lot of stick on the ground, a lot of logs on the ground. It's just, it grows nothing but brown snakes out there. So it's a good bit of insurance. Like, particularly when you, like, I was in a situation the other day. We were half an hour to the bitumen over some pretty rugged tracks. It was another sort of 30 or 40 minutes into town. So already you're an hour, a bit over an hour. If you got tagged by a snake in that sort of country, you're about an hour behind the, you know, you're an hour before you can get to help. You know, you get tagged by a big snake or a dangerous snake, a taipan or something like that when you're an hour or two from, you know, you don't really want to be, you know, have a snake hanging off your leg. So I always wear those Snake Protects. In winter, I'll tend to wear jeans and some decent boots, and you know, it's cold, you know, the snakes aren't around too many people, sort of thing. So yes, so where were we? So yeah, that's how I stay snake safe. And I always have, I haven't got it with me, but I always have in my pouch, I always have a snake bite kit. So I am ready and I know what to do. If I get bitten by a snake, I know how to wrap it, I know how to get out of there. Some people, and I tend not to because I normally detect with other people, some people have a personal locator beacon that they can flick off and say, look, I'm in strife here. It makes it easy for rescue people to find you. Yes, so, yes. So, Cameron asked, how does the randomizer work? Is it mainly input people you share while you're live streaming? No, I don't manually input it. It just automatically collects all the shares off the post, and away it goes. So it's not pre-selected. It happens in about 18 minutes or so. So, right, so, yes, shops in Browns Plains, on Browns Plains Road. Right, what's a good detector? Any that you're finding stuff with. And, yes, so what's a good detector? I know that was a flippant comment, but what's a good detector depends on what you want to do with it. Do you want to go hunting gold? It's not a simple question. So, you know, the difference between something you'd use to hunt gold with to a kids machine to a parks machine to a beach machine are different. So, Mine Lab. Oh, so this is the tune, 1 metre off the ground for 1 metre. So, yeah, linear. Spec safe for ground, it's auto ground compensation. So maybe it's, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Jason makes a point here about the snakes. We're going back to the snakes. So, a lot of people will say that those little brown snakes, the teeth, their fangs aren't very long. So genes tend to work. Geez, I don't like trusting that. Like, I prefer to put a pair of snake gaiters on and away you go. So, you know, like those browns, if they tag you, you know, you can get crook. Like, that's how people, like there was a bloke through the week, died of a brown snake, I think, this week or last week. Like, it's, you know, it's almost May. But, I don't know, I would suspect he was a long way from help. I would suspect he probably didn't have a bandage with him. Because you can, with a bandage, you can really slow down the venom. But by the time he got to help, he was too far gone. Like, they couldn't do anything with him. So, you've just got to carry those bandages, and you've got to know how to use them on yourself, and you need to protect yourself the best you can with snakes. It's as simple as that. So, right. So, okay, Sean asks, and this is always a tricky question. What are your thoughts on the ATX, Garrett ATX, and between that and the SDC? I don't think there's a huge difference. Well, I do. I would get there's advantages and disadvantages. SDC, the advantages of it is the target definition. When you get a target on SDC, you know you've got a target. The downsides of the SDC, and the SDC will find tiny little bits of gold, right? Phenomenal. The downsides is fixed coil. You can't change the coil. So Garrett ATX, you can change the coil. The target definition isn't quite as good. So you sort of go, oh, was that a target? But if you put that 8-inch monocoil on the ATX, right, it works just as well. If you just put the standard double D coil on, it won't compete with the SDC. The SDC will find the smaller gold. You need to go to the 8-inch coil, so they're both 8-inch coils. But yeah, they're both good machines. So yeah, so there's advantages and disadvantages from both. So yes, Richard, yeah, Richard, whereabouts are you? I bet you're not in Queensland with a lot of black snakes around. Yeah, we got browns up here, and we got a lot of browns up here. Yeah, you're pretty safe with gumboots on. People ask about gumboots. Yeah, you're pretty safe with gumboots on. Pretty hot to wear a set of gumboots in summer. So, yes. See, Kyla's got a great point there. The backpack is set up in case I fall down a shaft while I'm alone. Well, you'd be set up better than what I would be, Kyla. That's for sure. So, yeah. So I don't know whether I'd like to fall down a shaft. Some of those shafts are pretty deep. So, Daniel asks a good question here. What's a good spot in Warwick to find a nugget? So in Warwick there is about 16,000 hectares. It's a lot of ground. There's a lot of gold out there. The problem is there's a lot of dirt out there too. 16,000 hectares is a lot of ground. So my advice to you is, and my advice to anyone is for Warwick, go for the Fossicking areas, and any Fossicking areas anywhere around the country. Go to where people don't go. So don't drive out there and go, right, I'm in the first gate. Go to the more remote areas. Look for areas that haven't been detected. How do you know that? Well, there'll be stacks and stacks of targets there. So for instance, if you go in the first gate at Warwick, you won't find a bullet. You know, you will, but you might find a bullet every 30 minutes. You go to an area like you go third gate, fourth gate down in the Fossicking area, right? You might find, in that same half an hour, you might find 25 bullets. So that gives you an idea of what's been detected and what hasn't been detected. So, so that is my, yeah. That was my, that's what I tell everyone, so yeah. Yeah, Brian, I didn't hear the details. Brian talks about the snake handler, thought he got a dry bite, dead in 2 hours, yeah. Yeah, buddy, they'll knock you over. So, and you know, if he was a snake handler and thought he got a dry bite, didn't do any first aid, they can knock you over quick. Like 2 hours that's quick. So, yeah, so, yes. So that was a snake. Rodney, yeah, Rodney, we'll show the, we'll do a snake bite I'll probably need someone here, but we'll do a snake bite bandage thing. Bandage one weekend, one Monday Night Live. I might even see if my wife's a nurse. She might even come and wrap me up one night. So, snake bite bandage. Yeah, Nadia, I saw those rescue swags in 4x4 Super Centre. The snake bite bandage, first aid stuff, splint, water carry. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, like they're a nice little clever pack too, those things there. So, right, so I'm a mile behind here. So, Portaloo, what are we talking about here, Sky? In a Portaloo? What, snakes? Yes, David. Oh, that's a good idea, David. Keep my scoop in my left gaiter. Works well. Beautiful. Leather welding chaps are another good thing. The way I went and found these things was right. I was like, right, what do the snake catchers use? What are these guys that deal with snakes, deadly snakes, all day long? What do they use? And that's how I come across these. And there's pictures on the website of blokes getting tagged by big snakes with big fangs, and yeah, no problems at all. So, Ben, Tony asked, do I sell any CDs? No, I don't. Yes. Why bullets in Warwick? Brian, out there in Warwick, I believe that it was used for some sort of training exercise by the military. You'll get a lot of blanks out there. I think that there was a lot of cadets at some stage used it, I believe. And what they did is, you'll find the bullets pretty close to the road. Is what they did was, well, what I've been told they did was, they used to set up perimeters around the vehicle. So they'd be driving along, contact everyone out of the vehicles. They'd set up along the side of the road and defend the vehicles from an ambush. So I believe that's why there's that many blank rounds out there. So yeah. So, but the thing is, there's that many bullet shells out there from peg shooters and kangaroo shooters and shotgun pellets and all that sort of thing. So. And most people, when they find a bullet or a shotgun, they'll put it in their pouch. So you go into an area and there's nothing there, you know it's been worked, particularly in these Fossicking areas. So yeah, you've got to be finding bullets and lead almost all the time. So maybe do a list of items to carry when remote detecting. Yes, David, we can do that. We've touched on my gear. I had gear everywhere here one night, but we might just do a remote. Yeah, let's do an extreme. What I would take with me if I was going to camp overnight with a detector and walk into somewhere. That might be a bit of fun. Right, so. I think I've got a, I think I've caught up. Right, good. Okay, so there's a question here, why are we talking about snakes? Paul, this is what happens on Monday Night Live. We talk a bit of detecting, and someone asked a question about how do you protect yourself from snakes, and here we are. We've spent 10 minutes on snakes. So, right, so Ben from Gold Diggers, tonight, we're giving away, about 5 minutes time actually, we're giving away a little mini sluice from Galrat. Fantastic little dream mat in it. Phenomenal bit of gear, Australian made, no sharp edges on it. Beautiful thing you can backpack, stick it in your backpack and walk into somewhere, or if you're travelling. Warren from NQ Explorers has got this one here. He's in New Zealand at the moment, doing a bit of prospecting over there. So So yeah, so he's taken this one with him, which is phenomenal because it fits in the bag, and away you go. So that that's what we're giving away in about 5 minutes time, which reminds me I better get the randomizer going here. So you've only got about 5 minutes left to share this this post, and then we'll give away that. Yes, so that's what's happening here now. Stephen asked a good question. What's a good length sluice to use in the field? Well, I'm no real expert in it, but I would suspect the longer the sluice, the better. You will catch a lot more gold with a longer sluice. However, it becomes down to portability. If you're setting up on a, if you've got a claim and you're setting up, some of those sluices are 20 feet long. But it comes down to what is portable, sort of thing. Like this push sluice that we had up here before, right? It's 1200, a bit more than 1200 long with the flares on it and what have you. But you know, that's a pretty decent sized sluice for a to be carting around. It's very light, but you don't want it. You wouldn't want it too much bigger than that. So yeah. Right. So a lot of the right. So the good question there. From Ash is what degree you run the sluice on, so what angle you run the sluice on. Most of these high gull rat sluices have adjustable legs on it, so you can angle it however. And there's a lot of variables running into that. How coarse the ground is you're running, how much clay. How much water's running through it. Like if you're running just a sluice, like just a sluice in the river, like if you run it that, you won't catch any gold. You run it like this, you won't clear any. So there's actually a there's no set angle to run it on. You know, so it just depends on what material you're running. So 1 inch drop per foot of sluice is a good starting point. 8.5, 9.5 I've heard. There's so many things going there. So let me just get the randomizer going here. Let me just refresh this page, get it up. So we've had 550 shares so far. So we've just got another couple of minutes there. Who else have we got here? Do you know if gold's been found in Rosewood? I believe that area is pretty good with gold actually. Who was that? I've lost you now, you've slid off the page. So, Helen, sending good info on Claremont's newest goldfields. Yeah, the new Fossicking areas apparently are phenomenal. You know, it's been a long time since there's been new areas opened up in Claremont. I think people are having a lot of fun up there. I see a fair few places. I know Cleggie's there at the moment, so maybe we can get a bit of info from Cleggie. See, the hard thing with these things is how do you know who to trust, right? Who's been there? So who's got the good information that we trust? So anyway, so where's the randomizer? Let's get the randomizer going here. It's 8:30 in a few seconds. So 584, 585 shares. It's clicking up. There's no doubt about that. Right, so it is just about to go 8:30 and I'll run it. Reese asked about Tamworth. Yes, try places like Torrington State Forest down your way. You know, there's gold all through that area. Right, so randomiser time. So let's just pull it up here. Let's work it through here. Right, tonight's winner of the little sluice is Rodney. Rodney, where are you from? Rodney? I know you, I think, Rodney. Rodney. So Rodney wins tonight. I don't know where you're from, Rodney. Doesn't say on your profile, but I will message you immediately after the show, and I will send this out to you tomorrow, Rodney. Well done, mate. Congratulations. I've seen you on the show a bit, so that's good. So, yes, so next week I'm going to put out a post probably on Thursday about what's happening next week. The Anzac Day this Wednesday, I believe it's this Wednesday. I'll be going to the dawn service, so that will be good. We might even do a bit of a, we might even have a look at Australian military stuff next week or something or other, since it's Anzac Day and around that time. So thank you all very much for joining us. Don't forget to like the Facebook page so you get the updates, and we will see you for Monday Night Live 22 next week. Okay guys,